Thank you. So let's start. Hello, everybody. I'm Oscar Romero. I'm the Vice Dean of Postgraduate Studies. So first of all, this call is going to be recorded because later it will be available in our website. So please be aware that if you participate at any moment during this call, either by posing a question or just turning your video on, be aware that your video or voice might be recorded, okay? I would also ask those online, please, to just turn off your cameras and your microphones. Also, we will just turn off the chat. And then after the meeting, we will just turn it on again. So you can just pose your questions there, write them down, and I will answer them, okay? So also, thank you for those being here face-to-face. Let's start with the presentation for the masters. This is a comprehensive presentation that we will do about our masters. So first of all, thank you for your interest in our masters. This is the contents that we will follow today. Basically, I will just go through the Faculty of Informatics in case some of you don't know it, and then our masters themselves, so what we offer, and then different aspects that might be qualitative aspects that you may be interested in. So let's start about FIP. FIP is the Faculty of Informatics of Barcelona. It belongs to the Polytechnic University of Catalonia. This is a public university in Spain. It's one of the biggest, especially in the area of engineering. And as a public university, our values are around social responsibility, equal opportunity, sustainability, and cooperation and solidarity. For us, this is important because this means that when we are going to admit people in our masters, the only principle we are going to follow is that of merits. So we are not considering any other aspect. So UPC is a large university with plenty of students, as you can see, bachelor, master, and doctoral students with plenty of degrees in these settings. What I like to just recall about this slide is basically it's a research-oriented university. In the 2022, the last numbers that we have fully finished is we were able to raise 80 million euro for research and development projects. So this is quite a lot for a public institution. Indeed, as I will explain later, it's the main university in South Europe raising fundings in this sense. And this impacts especially our masters, because our masters are, you will see, focused on research and innovation. Also, we are a faculty with a strong internationalization aspect. As you can see, we have plenty of agreements with universities all over the world, and many of our students also do mobility during the studies. So FIP, as I said, is inside UPC, the Faculty of Informatics. It was created around 40 years ago, and it's right now the referent institution in Spain and one of them in Europe about informatics in the field of computer science. We see it in one of the ends of Barcelona, where this blue tag is in the map. And basically, you have here our main information, the email, web, and social networks, in case you are interested. Well, what is the mission of FIP? FIP is a Faculty of Computer Science, so our main focus is on informatics engineering, and this is the main focus of our studies. We have three main principles that we follow in our mission. First, prioritizing lasting concepts. So computer science is a science, and as such, it means that it has some basic knowledge that doesn't change with time. This is important to be transmitted because it's the baseline for anything that we are building on top of it, because all the advances in this field basically are abstraction layers on top of that knowledge. So it's important to build a robust and strong knowledge for students, and then, of course, how to apply it in real life, right? You will see that all our masters are very applied, and the scheme that we follow in this university, in this faculty especially, is that out of the hours that you have per week in any course, half of them are laboratory or applied hours. So we devote a lot of time to this aspect. Also, we are aware that someone who is taking a master needs to build other kinds of skills, and especially we promote and try to make effective our students in working habits, excellence, of course, from the academic point of view, and also team working. And not the least important thing, also a relevant one, is that you need to learn how to learn on your own, okay? Because this computer science world, and especially in the masters that we are focusing in this presentation, things will evolve after you finish them, so you need to have the ground, how to later catch up with whatever changes may appear in this field. Another aspect that I want to highlight is that we follow some quality indicators that are relevant for us. So all our masters are evaluated externally, but external bodies, okay? So these are especially two organisms that evaluate our studies, and it means that they come some time, they just check how the studies are implemented, they check the quality of these studies, and finally they emit a recommendation, okay? So these two organisms, one of them is local, is ACU, which is the Agency for Universities in Catalonia, and the other one is an international one that basically is called Euroinf, and basically they do this kind of evaluation at the European level. In all our masters, we got the maximum quality level, and this is important for us because we put a lot of effort on this, and this is certified by external evidences. And especially when we check the reports that they emit, these agencies, they focus on three main qualitative aspects of our programs. The first one, our students are pretty happy with learning outcomes and the learning that they got during their studies. The second one, the quality of the teaching staff. And the third one, the learning support services and resources. And this is important, as I said, because it's not us who is saying that, it's external evaluation agencies that come and evaluate our studies. So why to study at FIP? Well, it's one of the reference computer science schools in Europe. It means that we have the resources, professor, and experience to offer a range of high-value courses. We were pioneer, and it means that during all these years we have been establishing studies that has been of reference for many other faculties or universities, that they come all over the world just to study how we implement the studies. And as I said, because all our studies have been qualified by external quality agencies. Okay. If we ask the companies, what they typically mention about our students is that they are highly skilled professionals. Okay, so we prepare the students to have one aspect that it's leaning towards innovation and research, so that when you go to somewhere just to work, you can apply your knowledge in a way that it is an advantage for the organization where you are. How do we do this? Basically, let me explain, and this is the main content of the presentation. I will do this. Basically, we follow 5 principles. The first one is academic excellence. So we implement our programs following the current state of the art and what should be taught for these studies. The second one, we have a very flexible way to sign internships with companies. We sign plenty of them. Our faculty is the leading faculty at UPC signing internships. And the good thing is that by law, in our faculty, when you sign an internship, you need to get paid. So we do not accept non-paid internships. And this, believe me, is not a problem. The companies are interested in our students, and this is a fact. The other one that I will also explain is mobility and internationalization. And this is important because you may want to have an personal experience just moving abroad, to have an experience in another environment, which is also very interesting. We have plenty of agreements with other universities in plenty of countries. We are a very research-oriented university. This is a plus, and it means that during your studies you may want to work in a research group, for example, just get experience on how to bring research and innovation, so then when reaching to a company you can be more proficient in these aspects. And finally, social life, because, well, it's a university, at the end it's also important, social life and services provided by the faculty. I will develop all these 5 aspects. And especially as a vice dean, when I talk with a lot of students that they are expecting to follow a master, the typical question that I receive now is how should I prepare for a master? And my advice, and that's why I have this slide here, is you should not only focus on the content of the master, which is important, of course, But I guess that you are taking a master because you are taking one step beyond. You want to prepare yourself for something in the future. It could be in research environments, it could be in innovation environments, or just to take a step forward in your companies. And at this point, you need to build a comprehensive curriculum. Building a comprehensive curriculum means that if you want to be excellent, you need to prove that you are not only a good student with good marks, you are able to flexibly adapt to other environments. How to do that? First, having some experience. If you didn't have some experience yet in a company or in an internship, this is an interesting thing to do. Another thing is to work in other environments, cultural environments, like moving to another country if you didn't do it yet. And also learning what is research and innovation that you might not be interested in the future, but then at least you know what it is and you should be able to apply it in company. Okay, this is the difference between a leading professional and a regular professional. Okay, so that's why I'm going to articulate my presentation around these pillars. So let's start with excellence. So basically, I'm going to talk about our masters. This is the list of masters that we lead from the faculty, and I'm focusing on this pillar that I was mentioning before. Okay. So the list of masters is this with the full name. So the Master in Artificial Intelligence, the Master in Informatics Engineering, the Master in Innovation and Research in Informatics, which has 4 specializations I will develop later, the Master in Data Science, and then 2 international masters that map on top of 2 of the previous ones, the Erasmus Mundus Master in Big Data Management Analytics and the EU Master in High Performance Computing. Okay? Let's start with the first one. No? The Master in Informatics Engineering is a master that you should take if you want to get a professional view of how you should work in a company from the computer science perspective. It means that you should be the person managing the systems or the IT systems in a company. Okay? So in this sense, you need 2 kinds of skills to learn. The first one, management, okay, because you will need to manage teams and you will need to just take care of these teams, that they will develop the IT systems in the company. And on the second hand, you need to broaden your knowledge just to know all the aspects that might be relevant for innovation and research in a company and how to add value to the company from this perspective. Okay? That's why this master has 2 perspectives, and you see there are mandatory and elective courses on the management, which means learning how to deal with teams and take this and make decisions, and on IT aspects. So here you go on the broaden aspect and just see different fields. You will see many of them, and you can specialize in those that are interesting for you and decide which ones you want to learn in order to add value to a potential work later in a company. Okay. That's why we call this the Swiss Army knife of IT, because basically you don't go in depth, you go on width, okay, and you will learn a bit of everything and how to apply it in a company. From the perspective of learning, this is equivalent to the former bachelor in informatics that we had in Spain in the past. It was a 5-year study. So when you do your bachelor plus this master, this is roughly equivalent to this old 5-year education. And as I said, this master, like the others, is accredited by the 2 international agencies that came to evaluate our quality. Both of them, in both of them, we got the maximum quality label. That's why you have these excellence labels here. And this is the only master we have, the only one taught in Spanish and Catalan. It means that some courses are in Spanish and some courses are in Catalan. Okay? For those of you who are proficient in Spanish but you don't know about Catalan, we have some courses at the beginning just to help you learn the basics to follow the courses. Okay? And you can do this before starting the master. This is a 90 ECTS master, so 1.5 years, and I said with a strong professional orientation. So basically the kind of ECTS that you are going to take here, they just spread between management, taking care of teams and managing teams, and from the other side, IT aspects. In this master, if you have experience working or during the master you do an internship or get a contract on a job that is related with the master, you can get credits for that, elective credits. Okay? So this is what it means. These industrial agreements, curricular internships, and professional experience are up to 12 ECTS. Okay? And then, depending on your background and depending on the courses you took in the past, it may happen that you need to take some complementary courses before starting the master. So during the first semester, in parallel with some of the mandatory courses of the master, you may need to take up to 30 ECTS of complementary courses. It depends on your bachelor, okay, and what you did in the past. So most of the studies, you can just go in detail, just going to these websites that I will have in this presentation. As I said, this presentation and this video that we are recording now will be available on the website, okay? So you can take care later. But basically, when you go to this website, what you will find is information about the master, and for all the masters, we have this structure, no? So why? So the typical question, who is interested in this master typically, the curriculum, employment opportunities, the admission, and who is the members of the lecturers who will be teaching here. Admission is important that you check just to see what kind of profile we are looking for, when you may need to take complementary courses, and so on and so forth, okay? What I'm going to focus now is on the curriculum, and just to explain you how we structure it in the website. You see that you have this orangish color and then the blue ones. The orangish ones means that they are mandatory courses, okay? See that there are two blocks of courses, direction and management, and the other one is information technology. So here it means that these two courses are mandatory for you. Viability of innovative business projects, so how to put or evaluate the viability of putting new technologies into the company. And the second one, the strategic planning and IT governance, which is basic in any company having IT services. Then the other four are elective, and it's up to you if you want to take them or not. In any case, you have then the information technologies module. There are 6 mandatory courses. Here you have a bit of everything, as I said before, okay? This is in width. So you have high-performance computer architecture, so how high-performance computing could help in an organization. From the other side, development and management of information systems from the technical point of view. The third one is internet security and multimedia content distribution, so it's related with the streaming especially and this kind of approaches. Interactive graphic systems, how graphics could play a role in a company, creating digital twins or whatever. Embedded systems, of course, now wearables and all these things can play a role for companies. And the last one, very much related with data and data analysis, artificial intelligence, whatever you want to call it, computing and intelligent systems, okay? All the others are elective, and it's up to you to take them and to get specialized in this kind of aspects. That's why, since it's in width, it's up to you at the end to decide which aspects you want to get deeper. For example, digital identity, that might be interesting for many companies, or Internet of Things, cloud computing, etc. Okay? This is up to you, and in the end, you need to build your curriculum. Just be aware that in most of our masters, the thesis is always 30 CTS. It means that the thesis is quite demanding in our masters. You need to just prove that you are able to put into practice what you learned during the master, and at a scale that makes sense and really accomplish the objectives of the master. Finally, just to let you know that if you go to any of these courses and you click, you can see the details, the syllabus of the course. Okay, so this is the same for all the masters. Just you will have here who are the teachers in charge. You will have the competences and the objectives, the contents, and so on and so forth. Okay, so please be aware of this, and whenever you are just exploring a master that you might be interested, be sure to check all the details to be aware what kind of master you are taking. About May, it's a master that most of our students take while working. Okay, so it means that we have developed already a track. It's the same master, but it's a track that allows you to take this master part-time while working. Okay, so instead of taking 1.5 years to finish, the 90 CTS are taken throughout 2 years. Okay, and our point here is that following this dedication, you should be able to finish the master in these 2 years. First, a maximum of 4 or 5 hours per day dedicated to the studies, but coming to the faculty, face-to-face to the lectures, only happens 3 afternoons per week. And it's always afternoons, okay, from 2 to 8. So it means that coming 3 days and working the other 2 at home for 5 hours, you are safe. Okay, this is the kind of workload that you should go for. And of course, this is part-time. It means that the rest of the time you should be taking typically a job position or an internship. Okay. How does it work? Basically, this is the master if you follow the traditional approach without taking it part-time. Okay, this is the first column. And the other one is the industrial MA, where you take less courses. So you take 18 ECTS per semester. This is what part-time means in our faculty. Instead of going for 30 ECTS, which is what we account for a full-time studying, you go for 18, and then the rest of the time will be recognized by taking an internship of working experience that I will explain later how it works, because it's the same for all the masters. But basically, working part-time, you can get up to 12 ECTS. So it means that taking the 14 ECTS that you need to take in courses, which would be this column here, plus the master thesis, which is 30 ECTS, and you are supposed to do it half in the company and the university, right? Plus the 12 ECTS of recognizing this ECTS of internships or work, you already get the 90 ECTS in 2 years. Okay. We explained this with the first master, the master in engineering in informatics, because this is the master that typically people take in part-time, but all the other masters that I will explain later, all of them can also be done in part-time. Okay. The second one I'm going to discuss is MIRI, the Master in Innovation and Research in Informatics. The difference with MAE is that this is a master in depth. Okay, you choose a specialization and you get an expert on that topic. Currently, we have 4 specializations open for MIRI. The first one is advanced computing, and basically is for people who want to get very skilled in algorithmic schemes. So when you have a problem from a computational point of view, it's very expensive, and you want to learn how to deal with this kind of complexities, okay? So it's for people being very proficient in the algorithmic parts of computer science. The second one is computer graphics and virtual reality, and this is more devoted on how to bring value from the computers, from the graphics perspective into companies. There are a lot of examples from virtual reality to digital twins, whatever you can come up with. There are many ways to include graphics nowadays beyond, of course, video games and all the classics. And the last 2 are more related with distributed systems, but they are 2 very different kinds of distributed systems. The first one is when you just have a lot of machines and through a network you create a distributed system. Okay, this is computer networks and distributed systems. And the fourth one is a very highly dedicated kind of distributed system, which are supercomputers. Okay, and this is what is called high performance computing. Both of them are distributed, but the third one is something that you can get in a company, you can create on your own. The fourth one is something that you can only find in a supercomputer like the Barcelona Supercomputing Center. Okay, and then you need to adapt everything, how you program, how you access the resources, everything needs to be specific for this kind of infrastructure. This master, like MAE, is fully accredited at the highest level by the 2 external entities that came to evaluate our quality, and this one is taught in English. Okay, so you need a V2 to access this master. It's a master of 2 years, so 120 ECTS. And the structure is as follows. 30 ECTS are basic regardless of the specialization you take. It means that during these 30 ECTS, you are going to be taught advanced concepts in mathematics to go into the research line, right? Because you are going very much in depth here. So you are taking courses just to do experiments in a proper way, in a correct way. How to learn the basics of concurrency and distribution, because you see that there is a lot of, and in the end, if you are in any of these fields, distribution has an impact, okay, and so on and so forth. So these are the common compulsory courses. Then depending on the specialization you take, that you need to take at the moment that you enroll, okay, you take the specialization before starting the master, you have 48 ECTS on the specialization. So it means that depending on the specialization you choose, you will take one course or another. Okay. 12 are elective, open elective. It means that there can be courses related to your specialization or even courses from other specializations or other masters. Okay? And finally, the master thesis of 30 ECTS. For this master, what I advise you is that you follow these specific links to know more about each of the specializations, which are different between them. And like in May, you can get up to 12 ECTS of elective credits. So these 12 elective credits can be done just working on in an internship. Okay. Like in May, complementary courses might be required depending on your background and your bachelor. So it's the same as before. If you go here, the same format, and then you have the curriculum, the admission, what kind of profiles we expect for this master, and if you go to the curriculum, you will see that here you have again in orange the mandatory courses, and you will see that in blue are the elective ones. Okay, it's the same structure, just whenever you know what master you are interested in it, be sure to follow this and check the curriculum, and also the courses, okay? The third master is the Master in Data Science. This is our newest master. It was started to be offered in 2021, but it's not because we didn't have studies in this sense in the past. What we did with this master is that this is the result of 2 previous Erasmus Mundus masters that we had in the faculty, the Data Mining and Knowledge Management and Big Data Management and Analytics, that is still alive. These 2 converge in the current Master of Data Science. So this is a master about how to systematically take care of the data lifecycle. Okay, so it means that you have 2 sides: data management. This is, would say, more computer science side of the problem. So how to learn about how to implement data flows, databases, and systems that can go to the what it's called nowadays big data. Okay, and then once you are able to store and manage and process all this data into systems, how to do the analysis. And the analysis is done from a mathematical point of view. And here what you will learn is a lot of techniques just to do the analysis. Typically, we are talking here about purely a statistical view of the data analysis, what is called data mining, or a more algorithmic one, which is machine learning. Okay. This master is accredited, is a new one, so it's right now accredited by the European Commission from where it started, and it's taught in English. Okay, it's 120 ECTS, so 2 years. It has 54 ECTS on mandatory courses. Basically, all the first year except 1 course is mandatory courses, and then you have 36 elective courses, most of them in the 3rd semester, which is about 30 ECTS. And again, the master thesis is 30 ECTS. You have 3 main specialization blocks. This is for the elective courses. You can go into more specific courses that go into the fundamental problems, like data visualization, Bayesian statistics, time series, okay? Or you can go for more applied courses, like bioinformatics, health, and how to apply data science in health or in transportation and so on. Also, data science is a field that it's very much needed to have innovation and research here, because you will have the same tools as many others, so how to bring value in companies from data. So that's why you also have a 3rd block, which is about innovation and research. This master only accepts credits for internships if you do it during the master thesis. For the rest, during the master you can take internship, but you cannot claim ECTS for these ones, okay, as courses, let's say. And in this master, either you have the profile or you will not be accepted. There are no possibility to take complementary courses. And the last one is the Master on Artificial Intelligence. This master is inter-university. It means that it's jointly offered by 3 faculties, basically the Universitat de Barcelona, which is in the city center. Rovira i Virgili is in Tarragona, okay, in another town. So be aware of this, because it means that if you are accepted in this master, you need to move between the 3 faculties to take courses, okay? And UB is in Barcelona, but there is one day per week where you need to go to Tarragona for the lectures. Okay. This master is also again accredited with maximum excellence levels and is taught in English. This is 90 ECTS, so 1.5 years. And basically what you see is here all the foundations on artificial intelligence. This master, it explores all the fields in artificial intelligence. It's not purely data oriented artificial intelligence, okay? And this is important because, as you see, it has seven different intensifications. One of them is data-oriented, but you will see many of the other traditional fields of artificial intelligence here. So these intensifications are implemented in this master as elective courses. You will see that there are quite a lot of elective ECTS here, 42, for only 30 mandatory ones, okay? And you have a master thesis, which in this case is the smallest one of all the master theses. It's only 18. About the intensifications, my advice is that you check them all, and you should be interested in a few of them, because remember that elective courses in our faculty, what happens is that the number of seats available is always 25. So it means that if more than 25 people are interested in a course, the first 25 take it with regard to their marks. So depending on how you perform during the master, you choose first your elective courses. So a very demanded set of courses might be gone quickly, so just check what are the options you have here, okay? This master, like May and MIDI, exactly the same. You can claim up to 12 ECTS from your professional experience and curricular internships. And again, you may need to take some complementary courses before doing this master, okay? We have two other masters that are not purely local, but they are international versions of some of our masters. The first one is BDMA, that stands for Erasmus Mundus in Big Data Management and Analytics. This is the sibling of the Master in Data Science, but at the international level, okay? This is coordinated by the University of Brussels, and we participate there with Padova, Eindhoven, and Paris-Saclay Central Supélec. And basically, this master entails mobility throughout these four universities. It's basically very similar to the Master of Data Science, but with mobility. You need to move around, okay? This is as you see, is an Erasmus Mundus. It means that this degree was created by all these universities all together, okay? And it's the entity, the organization who accredits this master is not the Spanish government, is the European Commission, okay? That's why it comes from the EACA. For grants, because there are grants associated with this master, they have already passed. The application was from September to mid-December. Now what is open for this master is the self-funded period from March to June. This is in a structure very similar to the Master of Data Science, 2 years with 60 compulsory ECTS, and then you take a specialization. The way it's implemented is that the first semester is done in Brussels, and you take here the first set of fundamental courses. The second one is here at UPC, and basically you do the same semester as the Master of Data Science during the second semester. Then there is a mandatory summer school that moves around the partners in Europe. And then the specialization, the elective courses, is depending on the specialization you take. And this can be business process analytics, decision support and data analytics in France, or statistics and deep learning in Padova. The fourth semester is the master thesis, and again, you can move in any of the partners, okay? To apply to this master, it's different to the local ones that we have here. To apply to this master, you need to do it via this link. It's here, okay? This is a master that it's governed by a consortium, an international consortium, so it has a different way to apply. And the other European master we have is the EU for HPC. This master maps onto MIDI HPC. So we implement this on top of the high-performance computing specialization of MIDI, okay? It has a lot of universities, and this, unlike the previous one, it's implemented as a dual degree. It means that you do 1 year in one university and another year in another university. So you choose 2 universities of this set of universities, okay? And then what you get at the end is a dual degree. There are consortium grants, but in this case, they are lesser than in BDMA. They are fee waiving and mobility scholarships, and it was accredited, like in BDMA, by the European Commission. This is indeed the reference master in high-performance computing at the European level, and basically is just one of the new approaches or interest of the European Commission of having expertise on this field in the future in Europe. This master, to apply, you need to apply twice. First to the international master, the UA master for HPC. You need to apply following this link, and then you need to apply in the entry university. So if the entry university is UPC, you need to follow the regular application to MIDI HPC, okay? And you need to do it before the deadline passed, that I will explain you what is the deadline for UPC. The application for the EU Master has a different deadline, and you need to do both things, and they are independent processes that you don't need to do at the same time or whatever. You can do it at the moment you want while you do it within the deadlines, okay? So the first period of application for this master at the European level has already passed. The second one is between 8th of January and 31st of March, but be careful that this doesn't match the UPC deadlines that I will show later when you apply for the MIDI HPC, and you need to do both applications. Since this maps exactly on top of MIDI HPC, is a 2 years master of 120 ECTS, simply that in the second year you will be moving to another country, to another university, okay? You have the link here, and this is how it's implemented. As I said, you go to one entry university the first year, you go to a summer school, and then in the second year you go to another university of the set. Importantly, when you are accepted in this master, when you apply, so when you apply to the European master, it may happen that you are accepted for some of these universities, but not all. Okay? It's because the way that they tackle HPC is very different in each of them. So you may have a profile that fits some of these faculties, but not others. So it means that when you get an acceptance or an acceptance letter from this master, they tell you exactly which combinations you are allowed to do, okay? So in the end, as I said, is a dual degree from 2 universities from the batch. So please follow this link for more information about this master. So this is a quick recap about our masters. At the end, with the questions, I can answer more questions if you have about them. Nevertheless, my advice, go to our masters.fib.upc.edu website, the one that I was already navigating for May and MIDI, and you will see there all the information for each master about specific information sessions, because we have specific sessions for May, MIDI, and MDS. So if you are interested in any of these 3 masters, I would advise you to go to the specific information session. This one is the general one. And here you have information about the curriculum and admission as I show you, okay? But then, if you want details, because many times you ask me about what are the exam, when is the exam period, what is the academic calendar, when is the administrative procedures, all these things are already available in our regular, for students already enrolled website, which is the one at fib.upc.edu. If you go there, you will find information how the enrollment is done, the detailed curriculum, when the courses are taken, in which semester, what timetables, when the exams happen, what is the academic calendar. All this is available already. And you have here the links for the administrative procedures and academic calendars. And this is important as well because our masters are demanding in the sense that you need to finish them in an amount of time. So all of them has a regulation that tells you the amount of semesters you may take to finish the master. If you go above, you can be kicked out of the master, okay? So be careful with this. So there are some regulations that it's important, you should be aware of them. So all this information is in the websites, and my advice is that you carefully check it, okay? So this is the website from Masters, and basically, as I said, we have some periods that I will explain you now to do the pre-enrollment. Importantly, we have the general informations. Today is the first one, but we will have another one by the end of the period of admissions. But then, if you are interested in May, MIDI, and MDS, please save these dates, because then the 12th of April or the 16th of April for MIDI and MDS, you can have a specific session of this on these masters, okay? What is the procedure if you are interested in one of our masters? So you have all the procedure related and very well explained in this link, but basically are six steps, okay? The first one is that you need to go to a website that I will show you now, and you need to register, enter your personal and academic details. Important, you need to introduce all the information, because you cannot move forward until all this information has been introduced. Otherwise, the button to move forward doesn't appear. Be careful with this, okay? The second thing is that when you are done introducing all your information, if you are serious about taking or being evaluated, you need to pay 30 euros of pre-enrollment taxes. This is the amount that you need to take so that an evaluation committee evaluates your candidacy to our masters. Okay. So then, after the second step, your admission gets to the commission that is going to evaluate the admissions to this master, and they create a ranking of applicants. So for those accepted, they rank them in an absolute order, and for some of them, if they don't meet the requirements to follow the master, they are directly rejected. Okay. If you are accepted, then you must accept the position in the master. And you need to do this before the enrollment. So there is a procedure where there is a deadline where we ask you to accept the position. Why is that? Because all our masters tend to have very long waiting lists. So if someone is not going to take the position, we want to offer it to someone else. So there will be a deadline that you will receive an email from us, and in this date, you need to accept or decline the position that it's offered to you. To show that you are with keen interest in the master, you need to pay 300 euros to secure your position in the master. And if you finally enroll, these 300 euros are deducted from your enrollment. Okay, so it's not that you are paying it twice or whatever. It's just simply you are advancing it. And if you finally enroll, that's it. If you finally do not enroll, you lose this money. Okay, and this is just to, as I said, to guarantee that the waiting list moves on, and if people are not really coming to our masters, we can just offer these positions to other people. So the important dates. So the pre-enrollment needs to be done between the 26th of February and 26th of May. Okay, these are the strict deadlines. 26th of May is the very last day to apply. So there are two main admission periods. The first one finishes on 18th of April. And this is interesting because then if you apply by this period, depending on the master, you will get the answer by the 28th of April or 2nd of May. What kind of answer you will get here? If you are accepted, rejected, or your application is postponed to the second period. You can get three kinds of answers. Okay? But it is especially interesting for international students that might need to ask for a visa. We always resolve or try to resolve these petitions in the first period, because then you have plenty of time to ask for the visa. Okay, that takes some months. The second period is right after the first deadline till the 26th of May, and then we answer by the beginning of June. Okay, you will get the answer from the committee. As I said, it's important that you check the admission criteria and the masters, and one thing you need to be aware of is that we take very seriously the motivation letter that you must provide. Okay, so our masters, most of them have a high demand. So what we want to guarantee is motivated people, people who really want to take the master. Okay, and this is something that you need to express in your motivation letter. So please take care of the motivation letter. If in any of our masters there are empty seats after the second period, we may open a third period, but let me tell you that in the last year there were no available seats for MDS and MAI, okay? And May was also almost there, okay? MIDI was the only one that reached the third period, and we offered the last seats in this third period. So depending on the master you are interested in, please do not miss the first or second period. So how to start the process? You can just go to the mastersfib.upc.edu, and as it's set in this slide, just go to the bottom, and here you have this pre-enrollment. You start the process from here. From this pre-enrollment, you start the registration, you register in our system, you need to put your personal data, you need to put your academic data, and from here on, the 6 steps I mentioned before start, okay? So about the admission, as I said, you may got an outcome that it's different depending if you are in the first or second period. Of course, you can always be accept, and this is good news, and then you are in, and hopefully to start in September any of our masters. There might be the option to be reject. As I said, we are a public institution. We only reject people if the background is not enough to follow the master. There is no other criteria to reject people, okay? All the others will be just in the waiting list with a ranking, and then the positions are offered in order. Okay. In the first period, it may happen that your application is not clear if it's an accept or might be waiting list. So maybe then you are postponed because we need to see all the other applications in the second period before deciding if it's an accept or waiting list. Okay. So this is basically the meaning of what is accepted, postponed, waiting list, and rejected, as I explained. Once you are accepted in the master, our administrative services will contact you and will tell you what kind of documents you need to provide to formalize your enrollment and what are the next steps. Okay, so don't worry about that. This is something that our administrative services will contact you directly by the email you provided to start the procedure. Enrollment is always by the end of July. Okay, so you are accepted in the master program either in, as I said, 18th of April or 1st of June or whatever. So then you have time to work with our administrative services to find the document and the documents you need. If everything is okay, you enroll by the end of July. Okay, and this enrollment is done online. So you only need an internet access, and that's it. Okay. If you have more information about, or you want more information about any aspect, please consider these emails. The first one is the general email address. Here, especially for administrative issues, if you don't know what kind of document you need to provide for a certain document you are asked for, if this document you have is acceptable or not, these kind of questions, please address to our colleagues from the secretariat, okay? But if your question is about academic issues, it's better you contact directly the responsible person for the master. What do I mean by academic questions? For example, if you don't have a clear idea of what kind of profile you will have when you finish that master, you don't really see what is the content of this course and what will be covered. So what I mean is things related with the academic aspects, the courses, the profile of the students that are going to be there, the kind of output you may get there. Then it's better you directly contact the person responsible for that master, okay? Myself, I'm the responsible for the Master of Engineering Informatics, BDMA, and Master of Data Science, but then depending on the specialization of MIDI, you may address to one or another of our colleagues. And also the EU for HPC is the same person as MIDI HPC, as I told you, is the international counterpart of MIDI HPC, and MAIS is another colleague, okay? So about the prices, these are the current prices for this year, 23-24. These are set by UPC. You can always check the prices in this link that it's set here. The prices for 24-25 are not yet public. The Catalan government, basically they publish them in July, so we update them here. We don't expect any increase in the taxes for next year, okay? So this is the current expectations. So you can take that this should be the prices. Just realize that depending on the master, the credit is different. May is one of these, what we call habilitant master, and for this, it has a special price. All the other masters except BDMA, which is a European master and has its own price scheme set by European Commission, are like this, okay? So just please follow this link for more information about the prices. And let me now go for the other aspects of what we work in the faculty, because as I said, many times the questions that I ask is for students who want to move to a master, but many times they don't really know why, no? or what is the value that I'm going to get from a master. My point is you should move to a master if you really want to just move in the qualitative aspect of your CV, either to move to a more innovation research aspects or to go to a more higher levels in industry, okay? This is the way. So let me just go through the other aspects, and starting with internships. This is one of the strongest points in our faculty. We signed hundreds of internships per year, so this is something that it's very easy to do in our faculty. There are plenty of offers, and we have a website where everything is already published. So if you want to know how our internships work, please go to this URL. Here you will find information for the companies, for the students, and the regulations that set the practices. basically, as I said before, we do not accept internships if they are not paid. And we have a minimum of amount to be paid. Okay, so in the case of masters, if I'm not wrong, is €11 per hour. Okay, so we don't accept less than that. And this is set in our regulations, and it cannot be negotiated with anybody. We don't care about what other company it is. It's not negotiated. I can already tell you that companies already know this, and when they come to sign an internship with UPC and the faculty in the informatics, they accept this. And in the end, this is very cheap for them. It's much cheaper than just hiring a person, so it's not a big issue. So the internships, depending on the master, you can do extracurricular or curricular practices. This is our own jargon. What does it mean? Curricular practices mean that you can claim ECTS afterwards. Okay, so this will always be claimed as elective ECTS, and the minimum is 6 and the maximum is 12. So it means you cannot claim 5 ECTS, it's not possible, the minimum is 6, and you cannot claim more than 12, okay? So the rule that we use is that 30 hours of practices is 1 ECTS, okay? And all the masters, all of them, allowed to do the thesis in a company, doing a curricular practice, okay? So you can do the 30 CTS of the 18, if it's a case of a thesis in a company as a curricular practices. Then, besides the ECTS that you want to call or claim, you may want to do additional practices. That's possible. Then this is called extracurricular practices, okay? These are practices that you do an internship in a company, but you cannot claim ECTS for that, okay? There is a maximum for this, okay? The maximum of hours that you can sign for an internship, regardless if you are claiming ECTS or not, is 900 hours for MAI and May per year, okay? And 1,200 for median MDS. Okay, so this is the maximum. You cannot go above these numbers in internships. So after you finish your internship and you accomplish these numbers, you cannot continue the internship. Okay? Internships are not the only way to claim for ECTS. For example, if you already have a job contract and you are not interested in doing an internship, that's perfectly fine. Okay? So then you can get ECTS for your professional experience before or during the master. And of course, it needs to be related to the master. So if you've been a vet, for example, in the past, this doesn't count, okay? It needs to be in computer science. So the rule for professional experience recognition basically is this one, 1,600 hours equivalent to 6 ECTS. And if you have more hours, from them proportionally, okay? So the other aspects that I said that are relevant for building a strong CV, no? Once you come at the master level. For me, another important aspect is you consider mobility if you didn't do it, especially. Okay? Mobility is when you just plan to go and have an experience abroad, taking some courses. It could be the master thesis, it could be courses, or it can be both, depending on the master. And basically, we have agreements with 205 universities in 42 countries. This is one of the strongest points of FIP. We have plenty of agreements with universities all over the world. There is almost everywhere that you could go and attend a master, some ECTS of your master there. And the conditions for each master is different, okay? The master that are 90 ECTS, like May and MAI, you can only go abroad for 30 ECTS. And typically for May is the master thesis, and for MAI is the master thesis and the 12 elective courses of that semester. For MDS and MIDI, since these are 2-year masters and are 120, you can take the whole second year abroad. Okay, so it means the master thesis plus 30 ECTFs of courses. How to do mobility? I'm pretty sure that all of you know the Erasmus Plus framework, which you can move to other universities, but there are many others. Okay? Like we have the mobility to CERN, the institution in Switzerland, the UNITEC framework, specific frameworks with Latin America, the States, and Canada. We have one specific in Japan with the National Institute of Informatics, and also frameworks with China. We also offer double degrees, and the difference between mobility and a double degree is that When you are doing a mobility, for example, within the Erasmus Plus, you move to another university, you take some ECTS there, and when you come back, FIP recognizes this ECTS that you did abroad. But you are taking one degree, the one from UPC. Okay? When you take a double degree, you move to the other university, stay there, and then when you finish the mobility, you get the FIP title, but also the degree from the other university. So you get two. Okay? Of course, typically it means that the mobility is a bit longer. Typically is 1 year here, 1 year there. Okay? This is the typical scheme for double degrees. Right now we have 5 double degrees. For the year that you would start the masters, we will have 8. Okay? And we are signing double degrees for all our masters. So all of them, there are options to go for a double degree. If you go to our website of Mobility and Internationalization that I will show you, you will find the information. Right now it's the 5 double degrees, but there will appear new ones in the next months. Especially, for example, we recently signed with Georgia Tech and for the Media and Master of Data Science. You can also do internships abroad. It means that you can go to a company in a third country. Okay, it's when you do an internship, instead of doing it here locally, you move to another country, you need to do it through mobility. And then there is a kind of paperwork that you need to sign, and this is done via the Erasmus+. The Erasmus+ also allows you to go to companies, but also specific calls like IASTE, IESEC, or Entry Park that are for mobility to companies. And when you move to a company, when we say internship, it can be also an academic or research institute in another university, but where your work is more in the internship side, more than in the academic side, okay? And of course, it's also part of mobility when you go for summer school, short stays, all this is also possible, and they are in our website with detail, no? So this is one of our strong points, and as I said, in the current year, for this current academic year, more than 200 students requested mobility. Okay, so we have very appealing mobility scheme that I would ask you to consider, especially if you didn't have experience moving, because I think it's an interesting personal experience to have in life. Okay. So this is the website for mobility. Our colleagues from international relationships, they are doing an amazing job here with creating a lot of agreements with companies and universities all over the world. Please carefully consider all the options because there are a lot. And you just need to go to mobility, and in case that you are a student, what you need to check is the outgoing one. Okay. The double degrees is an outgoing one, but it's different because, as I said, eventually you get 2 titles. Also, an interesting thing that our colleagues implemented is that there is a mobility calendar. So here you have the information and the dates when the paperwork needs to start, because the bad news about mobility is kind of a red tape associated to it. Okay, so you need to start very early. If you are interested in doing mobility, my advice is that during the first semester of your master, already contact our colleagues from the international office, okay, just to know what are the paperwork and the deadlines you need to take care, because it's a bit of a cumbersome task, all the red tape around these mobilities. But the interesting thing is that, for example, the biggest framework of mobility you see is between January and March, is when you need to apply to most of the things. For example, the Erasmus Plus framework, the frameworks in Latin America, Taiwan, China, and all the double degrees were in this period, in February. The Vulcanus program is also in this period. The mobility to Unitech is also in this period, so on and so forth. Okay. And then you have other specific options, like, for example, moving to Japan, it's a specific on its own, or then short stays like the Google Summer Code, they have their own dates. Okay. Whatever thing that we are going to offer, it always appears in this calendar. That's why it's interesting you keep an eye here. Okay. And then, since I said that this is a kind of a bureaucratic process, we have 2 information sessions that every year the dates vary, but I put the ones for this year because they are roughly the same every year. So you have one during the first semester and another one during the second semester when you are about to make your choices in case that you are interested, okay? So again, it's interesting that you keep an eye here and attend them if you are interested in mobility. In case that you have doubts, we have a specific and dedicated email just for this matter, okay, and for mobility. The other aspect that I would like to highlight is that we have grants and aids for people that may need just help with the tuition fees. We have many grants and scholarships. You can access them via this website. They are typically published by June, July, and is the period where you should apply for them. Okay? Typically after you know that you are accepted in the program, of course. So you need to know that you are accepted in the program to apply to our grants. Okay? So these are the grants and scholarships that you can just follow, but I just want to highlight that many of them are our own grants. So are companies that are interested in the profile of our students, and they just set agreements with the faculty. And besides the international masters that they have grants on their own, we have companies like Entity Data, Seidor, or Allianz that they are just setting their own grants. My advice also is check what are the conditions to get the grant, because some companies ask you to do an internship there mandatorily if you take the grant, while others do not even ask for that. So just take care of this, okay? And then we have other organizations that they are non-profit organizations that they also offer grants for our students, especially under the diversity and inclusion perspective. Another aspect that I think is relevant and we excel is research and innovation. The interesting thing is that the faculty is one of the faculties that is raising more funds in European projects, the Horizon Europe or H2020 projects. In the current year, we are in 65 different projects, which is a lot. Indeed, UPC is the leading university in South Europe, raising funds for the Horizon Europe projects. But besides this kind of innovative projects, because the Horizon Europe, in cases that you are not aware of them, is just projects where you participate with companies from Europe. And the objective of Europe with these projects is just to transfer knowledge from the company, from the universities, the research aspects, to innovation in companies. Okay. But also, UPC has a very strong startup and spin-off ecosystem. Is the university in Spain that generates more spin-offs and startups, and we have a center to support students that might want to get into this line. Okay, and this is interesting. You take a look in case you might interest to start your own company. And we also have the Center for Development and Cooperation that, despite being a technological university, this is one of the oldest one in Spain, and here you have projects that are specific for development and with typically countries in the situation of development. So my advice is consider also complementing your time during the master with added value tasks, because if you go to a company that is especially research oriented and innovative, when you reach certain level of jobs, they will appreciate that you are a person with an innovation-oriented career or a research-oriented career. So, and this is one of our strengths, because all the lecturers at the master level at FIP are researchers, and they participate in these Horizon projects and these kind of things. They are proficient researchers in our field. How to formalize working with a research group? Either with an internship agreement that I showed you before, you can sign an internship with a research group, but also we have specific research grants, okay? And the research grants, there is a website that you can just go there, see what research grants are being offered by the research groups, and just apply to them, okay? Our research group, we are a polytechnic university, we are covering anything. So you have groups in mathematics, business administration, computer architecture, physics, information systems, computer science, statistics and operational research, automatics, okay, anything that you might be interested. And since this presentation will be then online and the video will be recorded, but the presentation will be also online, I put here for every field all the research groups that are here. So if you are interested in research, just look for the field that you are most interested, check the research groups, look for the website, and just feel free to contact them. Many times they are participating in projects, they need people to work with, and it's a way to get a hint on research. And you see there are plenty of research groups, two full pages of research groups, so most probably you can find your interest. Last but not least, the social life around the faculty. First, we have a lot of services to develop you as people. First, it's important for us as a public institution to promote equality of opportunities and also inclusion initiatives. So if you ever experience any kind of issue during your master's, just be aware that you have offices devoted to these aspects where you can find support. Okay. Also, there is a Center for Learning Languages, and there is a whole project that is called SALSAM, which is quite successful, where you can just mingle with people, because we have quite a big share of international students. So through these centers, what you can do is just meet people from everywhere in the world and just learn languages from here and there. Okay, so it's an interesting experience to learn another language and also people from other cultures. We have a cultural reception, which is called the Welcome Week at UPC. They tell you basically how the UPC works, but also any aspect related with culture. And then you have quite well-equipped libraries that, for example, you can book or reserve a room where you can go to brainstorm with your peers. And it means that, for example, if you are preparing for exam or for a practice, you can go there. You have just a blackboard, you have means to project or whatever, so just to brainstorm, to work in a team. This is an interesting thing that many of you, sometimes you don't realize that it's available for you as students. And we have a sports club, and then UPC also have UPC Arts. That as a UPC student, you have access to many activities related with arts, okay, in the city. There is a website where all this information is provided as well. And then the other thing that I would like to let you know is that there are plenty of actions to do to help others. For example, you can participate in Aula Lliure. That it means that there are some courses at the bachelor level for students who have more problems to progress. You as a master students can participate there to coach and tutor bachelor students. This is one of the nice initiatives that we have in the faculty. SALSAM is the course that I told you to meet people from other countries and also to learn languages. You have volunteering in ICT, but then you also have all the associations. They are run by students, okay? So you can just find other students with similar interest and just try to participate in social life that they generate. Some of these associations are very active, and for example, the Hackers UPC, they organize the biggest hackathon in Europe organized by students, which is pretty huge and happens in the spring semester, but also the Game Jam is also organized by an association. So they are pretty active, so consider them. And also there are plenty of events. As I said, our students and our lecturers are pretty active in taking part of things that are happening in society. So there are a lot of events that typically we disseminate throughout our website or our channels, the social networks. And here things like hackathons or projects that are devoted to develop the data science aspects or the artificial intelligence in people, the Women in Data Science, summer schools, the Mobile World Congress. We have an agreement. During the Mobile World Congress week, you can go there and experience the experience for free as a student, or similar initiatives like the Advanced Factory. So there are a lot of things going on during the semester. Please pay attention to them and just make your CV grow, no? And grow personally and professionally. And that's me. I would like to finish here just basically with some questions that I typically get. So the first one is, can I apply to a master if I didn't finish my undergraduate studies? And the answer is yes. So I told you that you need to have all the documentation by the enrollment date, that it's at the end of July. But if you don't have it by then, you have a second chance to do the enrollment in September. And it's not a big deal because during the first semester of all the masters, you have mandatory courses. So don't worry that enrolling in July or September, you are not missing anything, okay? In September, you should have everything ready. But for some cases, it's possible to have them up to October. But this is specific of the case. If you are not sure that you are done by September, please contact us in InfoMasters, as I said before, and we will give you specific hints for your case about when your documentation should be ready. The other typical question is, can I work and study at the same time? Yes. And this is done by a lot of our students. So the reality is that Barcelona is very thrilling in the aspects that we are teaching in our masters. For some of the masters like MIRI in high performance computing and CNDS, we have Barcelona Supercomputing Center here, which is a monster itself. But then for master data science or artificial intelligence, there are a lot of companies who created their hubs here in Barcelona, and they are just hiring our students. So many of them, after the first semester, move to part-time. This is possible. And when you move to part-time, what happens is that instead of taking 30 ECTS per semester, you can take at most 18. And then you have an extra semester to finish the master, okay? So this is the answer for the third point. And the last question is that if you are a student, that you are an international student and you are not planning to move to Barcelona till September, what happens if I need to enroll in July? No problem, enrollment is done online. This is one of the good things that the pandemic brought, and it states that it's enrolling online, okay? So it's not necessary to come face-to-face to enroll anymore. If you need to bring some documents, legal documents, you can do it in September. You can bring them in September, that's fine. Okay, so our administrative services will tell you exactly what documents to bring and when, okay? And with this, that's me. We will open a round for questions, so we will open the chat. So please, people who are online, just write your question in the chat and I will answer them in order. And while you write, we will start with questions in the room here. If you have any, please raise your hand and just wait for the mic so they can hear you at home.
Thank you, Oscar, for this session. I wanted to ask about the selection criteria, specifically about the Master in Data Science, because I compare it with the one of artificial intelligence that also interests me. And I believe the weights of every aspect for the final, I mean, the grade to access, you value less the professional experience, only 5% in the Master of Data Science. Is this true regarding to the information on the web, or you value everything in general, or the weights are the ones in the web?
No, the weights are those that you will find in the web. Huh? So what we do is basically we just put a mark for each of the aspects, and then there is a formula that computes the final mark, and then we extract the ranking from there. So every master has its own admission committee, and then every committee sets the weights. That it's variable from master to master.
Okay, thank you.
No problem.
I wanted to ask a question about the Master in Artificial Intelligence, particularly around the fact that there is the need to go to Tarragona, I believe. How does that work also in terms of attending lectures there? And also, what is the max capacity for the entire group of the Master?
So that's a good question, because I forgot to say it. For the Master of Artificial Intelligence is 50 people. Okay, so we start with a batch of 50 people. So in the first semester, you have the mandatory courses. So there are 2 courses that are mandatory in the master that are taught by the Tarragona University. So we group them on Thursdays, and then it's 1 day that you need to go there. Okay, it's just 1 day per week. In the second semester, it depends if you take elective courses from Tarragona or not. If you don't take any elective courses, you don't need to go anymore, but at least for the first semester, for sure you need to, okay? And then the 50 is the size of the group. For the other masters that I forgot to say it, the Master of Data Science has a limit of 40 people. MIRI, since it has 4 specializations there, the maximum is 60. And for May, it's 40 as well, okay? I forgot about to mention that. More questions here in the room?
Presentation. I wanted to ask about taking the master's part-time if I decide to do it from the very beginning. In all the cases, it will take 1 semester more. So if it's 2 years, it's going to be 2.5 years, right? So
it depends on the number of ECTS that you have, right? So it's different for a master of 90 ECTS or for a master of 120. Yes. I think that for the 120 is 2 or it's 1? It's 2, right? 2 and 1 more. And so it depends on the master. You have the regulations. You can check this specifically. Let me show you where you can find this. So if you go to the regular FIP website, and you just go for any of the masters, for example, the Master of Data Science, you have here the academic regulations, okay? So this is a 120 ECTS master. So here you have the academic progress regulations, and here you have the specifics. So the first thing is that during the first year, you need to pass 50 ECTS, at least 50. Okay, this is the 15 ECTS. This is the first thing. And the second is that there is a maximum period of study, no? And the maximum period of study, let me check. Plus 2 or 3 additional semesters. Okay, so 3 is for part-time, 2 is for regular one. So if the master is 2 years, it's 4 semesters. So you have 2 additional ones to finish the master, and if you are part-time, 1 more. Okay, but these things it depends on the masters, and it's good to check it here.
Hi, I want to know more about the master in artificial intelligence. If I want to ask, because I'm not from the computer science background, I'm from electronics here at Telecos, and I want to know if this has an impact and it's like on my, like it's bad to me to get access to this master.
So some of the masters that we are offering, they are not purely computer science, no? And this is the case of Master of Data Science and Artificial Intelligence, both of them. So here we accept other kinds of backgrounds. So for example, it's pretty usual that in these masters you have people coming either, for example, mathematics or statistics, but also classical engineering, like I guess yours, right? So what is the commission going to check there? First, your background in mathematics. Okay, because there is some analytical part in all these things, so they are going to check this. But also if you have at least some ECTS in computer science. So you should be proficient programming, having some basics on data structures and this kind of basic stuff on computer science. You are not going to be super proficient on, I don't know, operating systems, let's say, no, in the Master of Artificial Intelligence. Even if this is a core concept in computer science, this is something that it's not checked for this kind of masters. So the question is that there is a specific kind of profile that is expected for these masters, and in this case, it's not a purely computer science background. So you need some ECTS on computer science, but specifically and importantly, a good mathematical background as well.
No problem. Thank you.
More questions here in the room?
One more around the marks. For those that already have a master, is that considered for the evaluation, or is it the bachelor degree?
This is an important thing to discuss in the motivation letter, because if you are taking a second master, you should have a good reason for that, okay? Because this is something that, as I said, we are a public institution, so one of the things that we consider is if you really want to take a second master, you should motivate very clearly why. Okay, so just explain your motivation in the letter. Don't ignore this aspect, because it's something that for sure the Commission will want to know about. Okay. More questions here? Shall we start with the online questions? That there are quite a few already. So let me start from the beginning. So Joseph Tapia is asking, can I apply for more than one master? Yes, you can do that. When you apply to our system, the only thing is that you need to rank the masters, so you need to prioritize them. So what is your first choice, second, and so forth, okay? But you need to apply to them. Also, I think that you need to pay the taxes once per master. So you apply twice, the 20 or 30 euro that you need to pay for being evaluated, you need to do it per master, you apply. Oscar is asking, the motivation letter and any other document must be in English for the enrollment. If I think that there is, I can hear myself here in the room. Okay. So so if you apply for a master in English, so I'm talking about MIRI, MDS, and MAI, all the documents must be in English. Okay, so don't write the motivation letter in Catalan or Spanish if you are applying to these masters, please, always in English. For MAI, you can choose either Spanish or Catalan. Bernat is asking, as a JA student at FIP, do we need to provide all the documentation? No, for you it's much simpler. Because all your transcripts and your information from your bachelor is already available for us, so these kind of things you don't need to provide it, okay?
Oscar,
Yes?
except if they're applying for the Master in Artificial Intelligence, because we have to share their data with the other universities, and we don't have an agreement from him to do that.
Okay. Okay, thank you. Jose Manuel is the head of the administrative services. Thank you, Jose Manuel, for the information. Tom Hill is asking, did you say that non-US students will get a yes or no decision by 2nd May rather than being postponed? This is what we tried, Tom, yes, because for the visa procedures, June might be a bit late, so we try to make a decision either in the first round, because otherwise for some students might be impossible to get the visa on time, because we start lectures in September. Okay, so if you are an international student, my advice is applying the first round. Saran is asking, I'm still finishing my bachelor in AI and I want to study the Master of Artificial Intelligence. What should I hand in for the final average? I didn't finish every course yet, but it's one of the admission criteria. So what you need to provide then is the average up to the moment. So for the courses that already have a mark, okay? So you need to provide this. Am I right with this, right, Jose Manuel? So only for the courses that have a mark in the transcripts, eh?
Yes.
Thank you. Carlos is asking for, I'm still waiting on my English B2 certificate. Can I finish my pre-enrollment already? Yes, right? So the thing is that you need to have this when you are formally accepted. So before the enrollment and before the formal acceptance, you will need to have all the documentation, but at the enrollment time, it's fine if you still don't have it, but then if you are accepted, will be conditionally accepted. Victoria de Roux is sent, for the official statement of equivalence, does the grade list have to be translated by a sworn translator? And no, this is just, it's a document that you need to fill yourself, and we will double check that it's properly filled, but please distinguish when you are applying and then the final documentation that you need to hand once you are accepted, okay? So this is statement of equivalence. I think it's for application time, right? Iraitz is asking, good afternoon, do we know which is the last day for the enrollment at the end of July? Iraitz, careful. So let me show the dates here again. I can leave this. So for the pre-enrollment, to be accepted in the Masters, the deadline is 26th of May. If you are accepted in the Master after being pre-enrolled, okay, so after being admitted in the Master, then you enroll by the end of July, but only those that have been accepted can enroll. So first you need to pre-enroll and go through this process, the process of 6 steps that I mentioned here. And you need to do this either in the first period before the 18th of April or before the 26th of May. Okay. Alberto is asking, may I submit a recommendation letter a professor writes with my motivation letter? Yes, you can do that. But since we don't have in place a system where you can submit independently the letters, I can tell you that the commissions do not take this that seriously, okay? Because recommendations letters, when you are providing them, of course, they don't have that value. So then the answer is yes, and you have it submitted, but it's not mandatory at all to have recommendation letters in our applications. Saran is asking, my bachelor's degree is already in English. Do I still need a B2 certificate? No, right? So if you can prove that your bachelor is in English, then you are fine. Joseph Tapia is asking, can I apply for more than one? This question was already posed, right? And I answered it. Deepa is asking, do we have any entrance exam for the admission of data science? No, there is no exam. Basically, we will check your background, and if it's enough for taking the master, either you are accepted or in the waiting list, or otherwise you are rejected. And for the second question, do we need a B2 English certificate for taking admission? It's what we said for the other question, right? So if you don't have the right certificate for the admission time, in case you are accepted, you will be conditionally accepted, and before enrollment, you need to have all the documents, including the English certificate. Dotrang is asking, good afternoon, thank you for your insightful presentation, thank you. I would like to ask how important coding skills are in the Master of Artificial Intelligence, and is the course more about researching or practical coding? Thank you. All our masters, all of them are very practical, and all the courses split basically evenly the amount of theoretical aspects and practical aspects. We typically do it in labs, okay? So coding is important, and you need to be proficient in coding. The thing is that in a master like the Master of Artificial Intelligence, typically with Python you can be fine, while in others like MIDI or May, most probably you need to have also deep knowledge of other kind of languages, right? But for my, you need to know how to program and what is an algorithmic scheme, okay? So you need to have a background, but just at the level, at another level than if you take a fully oriented computer science master like MIDI or May, okay? Dennis Matsahir is saying, as for studying in English, do I need to provide any certificate if I already finished C1 course programming in my current university? So if your university, if your studies are in English, you only need to just upload a proof of that your studies are in English, and that's it, okay? Juan Carlos Quispe is asking, I need a certificate B2 for the admission of this must be MIDI. Yes, for MIDI you need a B2 certificate. Eva is asking how many students will be accepted in the first phase. We don't have a numerus clausus, so we don't have a number of available seats for the first or the second one. But of course, we will need to leave at least the same amount of positions for the second round. And this is a competitive task, right? So it depends on the quality of the individuals that are already applying the first one. So I cannot give you a precise number, but we do our best to split at least evenly in the worst case, okay? Lee Kelly is asking, is there a discounted tuition for EU residents, meaning for students holding TIE? I think that for EU students is like Spanish, no, once? So you would follow the same scheme price as a local student. Jean Valencia is asking, so if I have a master's degree in a very different area of studies, do I still need to specify that on my motivation letter? In that case, it's not that important, Lynn, but still, my advice is that explain clearly what is your objective in your academic or in your professional life, and why you are willing to take a master now in a very different field, no? So justify your decisions. Because especially in the masters with what we want in the master level, the difference of the bachelor's level, so it's not only students with very high marks. For example, when I participate in these commissions, if I have a student who has very high marks but nothing else, I may want to have someone with maybe a lower mark but with an interesting wide experience, that they have very clear ideas, eager to learn. You know, in the end, at the master level, what we are looking is another kind of profiles, no? So the motivation letter is the way where to show that you really are an eager person to learn and to participate. And also, when we create a cohort of people who are going to participate in a master, we want people who complement each other and generate added value, no? So this is important. So we also appreciate that people have different kinds of backgrounds. So diversity in this aspect, of course, is important. So just justify properly why you are taking this second master, and I think it will be good for your application. Zaid is asking, for my and MDS, it's also acceptable a background in biomedical engineering. Yes, we had students in this field. It depends on the bachelor you took. In this field, there are some bachelors that they are pretty strong in computer science already, and they took quite a few ECTS that they come with very good background. So I would say, in this case, we will check the depth of the computer science courses in your bachelor. Ivana is asking, are non-EU students also able to enroll in a master part-time and or possibly change to part-time? Yeah, of course. So when you enroll in a master, you have the same rights if you are EU, non-EU, whatever, all the students have exactly the same rights, and everything I explained in this presentation applies for any student, okay? Maria Jose is asking if I have the diploma legalized, but it's in Spanish, do I need to translate it? No, I don't think so, right? I think this should be fine. Juan Camilo Vaquero is asking, do you consider experience highly important for the application? I work for Entity Data in Colombia and I can apply to the Entity grant. So to the grants, anybody can apply that meets the conditions. So every grant, you will see that there is a chapter where it says the conditions that you need to fulfill in order to apply. Anybody applying to it is able to apply, okay? And for the second one, it depends on the master. It's similar to the question that I got here in the room. So every master has a different admission commission that they put different weight to different aspects. Some masters may consider better than others the experience, the professional experience. So in general, all of them consider it. So Oscar is asking, I have my B2 from 2016. Is this a problem? I think that if your certificate doesn't have an expiry date, I think you are fine. If it has an expiry date, you would need to retake it. But let me ask Jose Manuel, who is the expert here about this, just to be fully sure.
Yes, in some cases it's a problem because some cases have a validity of 2 years, so you will have to repeat it. It's, for example, IELTS or TOEFL. Those are valid only for 2 years. But for example, the Cambridge certificates are valid for all life. It depends.
Okay, thank you, Jose Manuel. So Valeria is asking, can it be TOEFL or is another certificate? TOEFL is accepted, and we have a list of accepted certificates. I think it's in the website, or?
No, and we send now.
Okay, we will send now, and in the chat, my colleague will put here more information about what certificates are accepted. Mario Jose is asking, if I already paid the 30 euros for the pre-enrollment, can I modify the documents in the pre-enrollment platform? This is for Jose Manuel. I don't have a clue. Jose Manuel, do you have an answer to this question?
What do you mean by changing? Yes, of course, I think while it is not validated, you can change documents. It's in the moment that it is validated that all the documents must be fixed to the admission committee. But before that, you can change everything.
So if she paid, I think that then, is it still possible or she's not possible?
If it has not been validated, it is possible.
Okay, I understand.
I think there are two sections, and in the section of personal data or personal documents, you can put there everything all the time. It's in the section of the application, the specific application for the master that you cannot change when it is validated.
Okay. So by validated, Maria Jose, means that someone has already checked your application and validated being correct, so this information can be sent to the admission committee, okay? So it depends on the status where you are. Joseph is asking, as economist bachelor with a strong math and statistics, do I have chances to be accepted in data science or AI? Yes, depending on your computer science background. So maths are important, statistics are important for these two masters. Also, you need some basics on programming and basic information on data structures and so on. So you need to be proficient programming as well for both of them. Okay. Saran is asking, thank you for your answers. Here I provide my current university's ranking myself. University's ranking, and from where? I'm not sure. What do you mean with university ranking? Maybe you can write meanwhile in the chat, Saran, while I answer the other questions. Ian is asking, what are the ways to accredit the B2 level in English? So this is the link that if you see my colleagues from InfoMasters, they put here a link, check the official certificates that we accept at, and she put there a link. So please follow this link to know exactly the certificates that we accept, okay? It says, I made the question about the enrollment date in July. My question was about if there is a specific day limit to do the enrollment. So to the enrollment, you have a day and a slot. So it means a time to enroll, Okay, so for example, it can be the, I don't know, I'm just guessing because we don't have this day probably yet, but the 27th of July at 10. Okay, and then you have, roughly speaking, 1 hour or so is the slot that you get for doing the enrollment. Okay, so you just need to be sure that you have at least a mobile phone and a connection to internet to do the process, and that date and that time. I think that you are allowed to do it during the morning of the day, but the deadline, the true deadline is 2 p.m. I think it's when the system closes. Okay. Saran, you says, it was part of the admission criteria. I'm not really sure about what this ranking of your university is then. I would say that maybe you can ask, send an email to our colleagues in InfoMasters, right? The email that I put at the end, because I'm not really sure what is the ranking of the university. I don't know if Jose Manuel, you have a clue about what is this?
No, I'm not sure if she's or he's talking about the ranking of the university in the different academic rankings we have, like Shanghai ranking and QS and so on.
Okay, and in case it's this, she has to do it herself, no?
No, it's a task of the committee to check it.
Okay. Okay, for the admission criteria, sorry, no, I know what you mean. Yeah, it's done by the commission. Sorry, Saran, I was mistaken. Yeah, it's done by the commission, this part. Don't worry. Dennis, if I get EU residence during studies, how it will affect payments? So if you get the EU residence, then I think you are a local student, no? From there on? Yeah, so then the enrollment, the taxes are done, those ones of the local students. Yeah, Saran, I think that now I got it. Sorry for that. Yeah, it is the commission who will take care of this. Maria Jose is asking for, it says my pre-enrollment is already validated, pending form resolving, but I would like to modify my motivation letter because I wrote it in Spanish. Just send an email to InfoMasters, okay? And let's see what they will tell you exactly what to do. 1 second. Valeria is asking what is the difference exactly with the data science and BDMA. I think you mentioned they are quite similar. They are, so data science is the local implementation of BDMA. BDMA forces you to move through several universities, and this part of the scheme. While the Master of Data Science, you can take it in Barcelona or just move via double degree to another place in another university. Nevertheless, content-wise, they are a bit different, okay? They are similar, but they are not exactly the same program. So what I would suggest is that you go to the website and check exactly the courses, and you will see that there are some differences. For example, the local Master of Data Science has a stronger perspective in the mathematical analysis. For example, you have a courses in time series or Bayesian statistics that you will not find in BDMA. So your turn. Yes, we have a question here in the room.
All the good questions come at the end. I wanted to ask about translating my documents. Which language should I translate it to? Spanish, Catalan, English, if they're neither of those?
So the translation is to what?
Spanish.
Or Catalan. English won't work.
For the enrollment, yes. But if you are admitted, you need to give us the documentation in Spanish.
Of everything?
No, academic documents.
Academic documents, okay.
Transcript and diploma.
Okay, thanks.
So Joseph is asking about when is BDMA going to be open, and the self-funded application for BDMA is already open. What is closed is the application for grants. This is already passed. And Saran, with one last question, how many applications does the MyMaster receive? Is one of the masters with highest demand, so we have quite a lot of applications for this master, so it's a demanding one. But as always, what I say is do not pay attention to these kind of things, especially because you have a first period that finishes on the 18th of April. So if you're interested in the master, don't be afraid about the number of applications. Just apply and try to follow the studies that you would prefer. Always try to make your decision from academic perspective. Don't let yourself be affected by other kind of aspects like number of people applying or whatever, okay? So if you are concerned about this aspect, just apply during the first period and you will have an answer by May. So you have time to react and apply to other programs if you are not accepted, okay? And after this one, I think I'm done with the questions. I don't know if there is any last minute question here in the room as well.
Quick question, should it be sworn translation?
Yes.
So if there is no more questions from the online side, just let me thank you all of you for your interest in our masters. Please remember that this video with the record will be available in our website in the mastersfib.upc.edu. There will appear there under each of the masters. And then when the specific sessions for each of the masters will take place, we also will put them there. So please keep tuned with our website. We try to keep them up to date to facilitate your decision making, okay? And in case you apply, good luck with it, and I do hope to see you next year as students at the UPC. So good luck with your applications. See you. Thank you for coming here.